I actually prepped it a little bit this week because I wanted to compare week to week. Funny thing to note, apparently I am terrible at determining the power rankings. Last week I had Brian and Titty in the 1 and 2 spots respectively. They were both low scorers for this week. Maybe that's a curse of my power rankings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow it up with Pittman, who's facing me, and I'm going to rank him number 1. So fingers crossed you have a shit week this week, Pittman. Pittman obviously has, looking back at his lineup, Kyler Murray's killing it. Aaron Jones had a filthy game. Justin Jefferson and Cooper Kupp been playing well. Darren Waller's got a very high ceiling. On the bench, Cortland Sutton, Marquise Brown, Henry Ruggs all scored above 20. Scary to think, but again, I'm not expecting near 40 points from Cooper Kupp and Aaron Jones every week, and definitely not in week 3. Moving to the 2 spot, man, I hate to say this, but I got Kyle in number 2. He had a really high scoring week 1. I followed it up with a above average scoring week this week with 116 points. Mahomes obviously carries him. He got 30 points from Tyler Lockett. That's not going to be repeatable. But at the same time, I think that he's going to be able to get a little bit more out of Allen Robinson and Logan Thomas over the long run, which will probably keep him around that 105 to 115 mark in terms of scoring, which puts you in contention every week, right? Now, in the 3 spot, I got Jackson. Derrick Henry, obviously, catching momentum is a very scary thing. He definitely runs angry, and if he was angry last week, he's got to be angry again this week. Putting up 152 points is definitely a statement. Zeke Elliott returning to some type of form is a positive thing for him. Steady Eddies and Keenan Allen and Adam Thielen in his wide receiver position, very balanced. Damian Harris is his flex, solid. I mean, he's set up pretty well. Should be interesting to see. In the 4 spot, I got Titty. Obviously, he had a shit week this week, but I'm not going to expect Dak Prescott to only have 7.5 points. I'm not going to expect Saquon Barkley to only put up 8. This might be a little bit of a stretch, but with me ranking him in second last week, right? I can't have him drop too far. He is 1-1. Ranked him 8th in the league, but last week, in week 1 he was big. So the 5 spot, I got Brian Borgness dropping from 1st to 5th. Really showed some vulnerability when it comes to how bad it can really get if something doesn't click for you guys. I think your running backs are stretched a little thin. Edmonds hasn't been involved in the passing game as much. Your wide receivers, when both of them don't perform, are very difficult. Obviously it's difficult to win at that point, but you're kind of betting on them putting up 15 to 20 a game rather than 4.5, 5. In the 6th spot, I got Nolan, myself. I am 2-0. I'm 3rd in the league. However, I definitely have some gaps. Wide receiver 2, tight end. My quarterback is definitely an iffy situation. We'll see how Daniel Jones goes. I'll probably end up starting him this week, just for his ability to run the ball, and the Giants not having any other options but to risk Daniel Jones' life by letting him run around. Murph in the 7th spot, obviously not winning, drops you a couple. You are still a pretty balanced team in my opinion. It's just tough to sway me the other way when your running backs don't even total 12 points. Let's be honest. I think DeAndre Hopkins had an underperforming week for him, and then Terry McLaurin obviously outperformed what I think he's going to do on an average, but I mean, he's probably still a top 10 wide receiver, top 15 wide receiver in the league. Yeah, he's a 15th ranked. In the 8th spot, I got Pete. Bray Gardner. It's a big move up from Pete from I had him in 11th last week. Dropping 143 points really highlights that. Everything clicking with his running backs. It's great news. Lamar Jackson coming out, dropping 35. It really just depends on what they're going to allow Lamar to continue to do, right? Are they going to risk his health, risk, injury to him by letting him run, or what are they going to do? But we'll see. In the 9 spot, I have Pintoni. Looking at his team, I'm just not super thrilled with his running backs, even though they played well this week. He did drop 118 points, tough loss, but let's be honest, I just don't see Tyson Williams putting up 10 points next week. I don't see Marvin Jones putting up 14 and a half that week. It's tough. I just don't see that you can sustain it. Brandon Cooks, I don't see him dropping, being even a wide receiver 20 in this league over the course of the season. Right now he's 8, so I think he's too wild. That's too high for him. Nicky O in the 10 spot. I know you got your destiny lies in the hands of C-Mac and Tom Brady, which isn't a bad group. I struggle with your wide receiver depth, especially after the Jarvis Landry injury. Got to put you in the 10 spot. 11th, Edemos. Again, you're 0-2. I don't think you've scored over 100 points in the past 2 games. Your running backs, Joe Mixon, you hate to see the inconsistency. Hopefully he bounces back. CEH, he's fucking trash. Justin Herbert, sophomore slump. You're going to have to figure some stuff out, man. Again, I just don't think you missed some stuff in the draft, maybe. James White will probably find his way into your flex position. That should help out a little bit. I think you were going for a ceiling pick, knowing that you were up against a powerhouse in Pittman with Callaway there. So I can understand that. And a dead last again for the second consecutive week is Cassiano, purely because he gives me too much damn attitude, and he's 0-2. So, and I beat him. Whatever. Deontay Johnson also, big question mark for him, and he's 1, your keeper, 2, your wide receiver 1, and probably not your wide receiver 1 with DK there. But need DK to step up and be like he was last year if you're going to have any shot at continuing to be good, and Melvin Gordon to regain his 2013 form, which unlikely. All right, gents. I apologize for the lack of humor in this one. I do have to go do some homework. We will talk soon. Have a great one, guys. Later.